Hey everybody, this is Greg.
And this is Matt, and we are Record Mashup. We're excited that you're joining us here for this episode. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button wherever you listen. But if you don't have a common place you can listen, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, all those fun places. Or more importantly, you can check out our YouTube channel and watch us record and interact with one another in Zoom because it's COVID and everything's digital these days. But anyway, we're excited to have you here with us this week. Greg, what's our theme this week?
So this week we're going to be talking about love. So we got Valentine's Day coming up. This episode's actually going to be released after Valentine's Day, but still important to listen to the songs and deal with those. So my song that I'll be discussing is If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. Love that song. Matt, what do you got for us?
I'm going to do the classic, I Will Always Love You. We're going to mostly talk about Dolly Parton's story about how she wrote the song, but we'll talk about Whitney Houston's version too, because how can you talk about that song and not mention Whitney Houston?
Absolutely.
So let's dive into it. I Will Always Love You. This was a song that was written by Dolly Parton. She recorded it on June 12th, 1973. And it was released on March 11th, 1974 on the Jolene Album, which I think was, I didn't take a note of this, but I think it was like her 13th or 14th studio album. So she had released several albums before then, but in many ways, this album was really kind of the real launch to her solo career, so to speak, I suppose you could say. We'll talk a little bit about that.
I just realized Dolly Parton has like 50 CDs.
Yeah, she's released a lot of. I mean, think about it.
A lot of them are Christmas albums too, but like Jesus.
Yeah.
So many.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, she's been recording for 50, not quite 60 years, but well, maybe. She's what, in her 70s? She started recording.
So she's been.
Yeah, probably about 50, 55 years.
67. So yeah, that's 60 years?
Yeah.
Almost
60. Going on 60 years, about
53 years.
Yeah. So she's been around for a while and still to this day, huge superstar that draws, well, when you can have concerts, draws thousands and thousands of people every year, and really is just a huge star that I think expands even just beyond country music. I mean, Dolly Parton's done a lot of great things. Her Imagination Library, Dollywood. If you've ever been to the Smoky Mountains, that's like her stomping grounds.
I didn't realize like how much she's done until like, I don't know, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's insane. Like she's got her hand in like everything, and she helped fund the Moderna vaccine. So,
she's got a special on Netflix that she created too. She's like a co-star in it. She's not the main actress, but she's got a thing on Netflix that like tackles different issues and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, Dolly Parton's awesome. Love Dolly. How can you not? All right. So anyway, this song, there's actually a really interesting story to this one. I love songs that have good stories. So we got to go back a little bit. This was, as we were saying, this was when she was first starting out her career. She was in her early 20s, and she had just released a song called Dumb Blonde. It's the name of the song, Dumb Blonde, which I think is kind of funny because if you know anything about Dolly Parton, and I don't know how you could not, she's got really long blonde hair. And she is not dumb by any means, but I think it's kind of a fun play on words in terms of her own personal appearance. But anyway, so she had just released this song called Dumb Blonde. It was kind of really her first semi-big hit. Got a little bit of time on the airwaves, and she actually performed the song on a television show. I'm not exactly sure which one, but anyway, country music artist Porter Wagner, who at the time was a huge country star, saw her TV performance of this song and gave her a call and asked if she'd want to come onto his show. He had his own show called The Porter Wagner Show. she agreed, came on the show, and Dolly was a huge hit. Fans loved her, etc. Well, he ended up asking her, he being Porter Wagner, ended up asking Dolly if she would be willing to come on and work on his show full time. And he offered her $60,000 a year, which in 1967 was a ton of money. That's about, I did the math on it, it's about $450,000 a year in today's terms.
That's insane.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, she had a few singles that were kind of big, this Dumb Blonde song, but it did, wasn't like a number one hit or anything. So to just, to get offered 60 grand to come on and, do a nightly show singing is just, it's crazy. So anyway, so she agreed to come onto the show, and at the time she said, I'll do this for 5 years. I'm going to come on the show for 5 years. And she did. And supposedly she actually initially was not a hit on the show. There had been another female artist that Porter had named Norma Jean, who had been kind of the lead female in Porter Wagner's show and was loved by all the fans. And for whatever reason, she was the one that left and was, her spot is who, Dolly ended up filling. And so initially fans didn't really take to Dolly too much. They still wanted to see Norma. So it took a little bit of time for Dolly to for fans to come around to Dolly being the female face of the show, if you will, and voice of the show.
Yeah, could you imagine Wheel of Fortune without Vanna White?
No,
crazy.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's gonna take that spot whenever Vanna White retires or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be. Well, it's we're seeing it now with Jeopardy, right? I mean, with Alex Trebek passing.
Yeah.
And Ken Jennings has been. I love Jeopardy, so. But Ken Jennings I think Ken's been doing a great job. But it's that Alex Trebek did it for so long that anybody that steps into that role, I think, is going to have that. It's going to be battling the nostalgia of fans, I think, is probably how I describe it.
I think it's happened enough to shows like the Tonight Show or whatever, like those, where they've had enough turnover on those, so it's not as much of a shock as it is to those other shows that have had someone there for 50 years.
I definitely think that's true. Although of course, when Johnny Carson left the Tonight Show, I think that was still pretty tough. But still, that was 30 years ago now.
Was he the one who started the Tonight Show?
No, there was somebody before Johnny Carson. Was it Jack Parr? Is that his name? I'm blanking out here.
I think we're getting a little bit sidetracked.
Yeah, I think it was Jack Parr. Hold up, I got to look this up now.
Here, I'll help you.
Yeah, Jack Parr. I was right.
Okay.
And actually, even before that, you had a guy by the name of Steve Allen. He was the original host. You had Steve Allen. Then actually you had like 3 other people, random people that were on there for a short stint. Then you had Jack Parr, then Johnny Carson. And then obviously after Johnny Carson, you had Jay Leno.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to I Will Always Love You. So, all right, so Dolly Parton's on the show with Porter Wagner. She had agreed to be there for 5 years. Well, 7 years goes by. By this point, the fans love her, and she's ready to really kind of go out on her own and really start to focus on her solo career. Up until this time, she'd been under Porter's shadow. They had some hits come out that they'd recorded together, but she was ready to go out on her own. And so it'd been 7 years. She had promised 5, and she told Porter, look, I'm ready to go out on my own. And Porter didn't want her to leave. They kept butting heads, as she would say, on the issue of whether or not she if it was okay for her to leave the show, which, we could get into that whole argument, but we're gonna move on. But she knew what she wanted to do. And so she went home one evening and she did what she did best. She wrote a song. She comes in the next morning, she goes into Porter's office and she plays the song for him. And the song was I Will Always Love You. And so this song was written, a lot of people think of it as a breakup song, which is ironic because we're talking about love. but that's exactly not what it was. It was a breakup song, but in a professional sense.
Yeah.
And she was trying to say, like, I'm always going to love you. I'm always going to be appreciative of what you've done and helping me launch my career. And because of that, I will always love you, but I need to take that next step in my journey. And that's where she was coming from when she wrote this song. And reportedly, Porter Wagner, when he heard the song, he apparently started crying in his office, and he finally understood where she was at, and he said, "You know what? You're right, Dolly. I'm supportive of you in this on one condition," and he wanted to produce her next record. And it had to include this song because he said it was the best song he'd ever heard her sing. And so that's what happened. Dolly left the show, and Porter produced her next album, which was the Jolene album that included "I Will Always Love You" on it. So I think I love the story. I think it's classic, country music story background that you heard from this era of country music, and the song is fantastic. We'll get into the lyrics in a second, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Whitney Houston song or version. So, Dolly Parton's version comes out. It's a big hit. She actually re-recorded a second version of the song for a film that came out in the 80s. Again, was a big hit. And then we fast forward to 92. Whitney Houston is starring in a movie called The Bodyguard.
I think it was her first movie too, to kind of show that she could be an actress.
Yeah, I think that's
actor,
right.
whatever you want to call her.
Yeah, gender. And so she was actually supposed to sing another song in the movie. She was supposed to sing a song called it was a song by Jimmy Ruffin, "What Becomes of the Brokenhearted." But I suppose in filming, or at least before they recorded the song, they discovered that the movie Fried Green Tomatoes had also recorded the song, and I guess maybe the timing, maybe Fried Green Tomatoes was going to come out first or something. And so she said, "Look, I can't record this. Like, we got to find another song." And someone on the film brought "I Will Always Love You" to her, and she's like, "This is it." The movie team said, "This is it," and so that's what they recorded. And there was a lot of talk at the time about Dolly and Whitney, feuding over who, or over the song, but both artists denied that, and they loved each other's versions. And they, in fact, Whitney Houston's version won a Grammy in 1994, I think it was. Yes, 1994.
Yeah, I also read that Dolly Parton, when she first heard it, almost got in a car accident.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Interesting.
Yeah, she heard the song and she was like, "Oh, this sounds familiar." And then it started to get like almost to the chorus part, and she was like, "Oh wait, I know what this song is." And then she had to pull over because she was like, "I almost wrecked the car once the chorus came on, so I had to pull over and stop the car."
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not see that story. But yeah, no, it's kind of cool. Apparently Dolly, when Whitney won the Grammy, Dolly was one of the ones that presented it to her, which is kind of cool.
Did you also see that Dolly Parton refused to let other people sing this song? So Elvis Presley wanted to sing it, and she refused him. And then I guess people are upset about it or something, but then she let Whitney Houston do it, and
so
was pretty happy about
it. The Elvis thing, apparently what I read, Elvis was anytime Elvis wanted to cover a song, if Elvis covers your song, the song became huge, right? It's Elvis. Anything that man touched became gold. But because he knew that, his requirement was, if I record your song, if I cover your song, I want 50% of the royalties, or 50% of the songwriting credit, or I got it here somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're talking about just like
publishing rights,
profits from the song.
Yeah, he wanted 50% of the publishing rights. Well, Dolly said, "No way in hell." And what's funny is, because she was later quoted as saying she's so glad she didn't do that deal, because everyone thought she was crazy at the time. But she was so glad she didn't do that deal because after Whitney Houston recorded it, she made so much money off the royalties of Whitney Houston's version that she joked she could buy Graceland. So anyway, I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of how everything comes full circle. Anyway, we've skipped over. I haven't even talked about the lyrics, although I've kind of talked about them in a roundabout way.
Yeah, we can jump into that and then jump into more song facts afterwards too.
Yeah,
because your song has a lot going.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on with this
instead
song.
of mine.
The lyrics are actually, I've actually kind of talked about the lyrics a little bit, at least what the song's about. But the first verse, she's talking about how she would only be in his way. And again, remember, she's writing this to Porter Wagner, that if she stays, she's only going to be in his way, and she's going to continue to hold him back. He's going to hold her back. But she says quite clearly, I'm going to leave, but she'll always be appreciative and think of him and how everything that he's done for her to get to where she is at this point in her career. And then it jumps into the chorus, which we hear several times throughout the song, which I will always love you, and so forth. The second verse, I think, in my mind, is really the verse where it kind of gets a little deeper, I think, about her feelings. So I think the first verse is she's saying, this is what I'm going to do. I've decided I'm going to leave. But then we get to the second verse and she's saying, I'm always going to have bittersweet memories of our time together. I'm going to always cherish that. But it's really time. It's time for me to go. It's the best for both of us. And I think the second verse is where she's really kind of expressing her emotions. So the first verse, she said, this is my decision. Second verse is, this is how I feel about it. And then again, we get into the chorus, just reiterating that she's always going to love him. And then the bridge, it's kind of like, this is the closing. This is her saying goodbye. She says, I wish you well. I hope that you find joy and happiness, as we go our separate ways, and just remember, I'll always love you. And I kind of like that arc. When we look at the verses, how it's, decision, here's how I feel about it, and then the resolution to the story. And I just think it's really well written. And as Porter Wagner said, I actually think this is one of Dolly's best songs that she's ever written. Yeah. So
and I find it funny because like people have this at weddings and things like that.
Yeah.
Not understanding what the song is actually saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it is a song about love, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, but it's not like, hey, we're getting together. It's, hey, we're separating ways.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a wedding song.
Yeah, that's fair.
Listen to the whole song.
I think people get stuck on the chorus, though. I think that's why.
Yeah.
They and let's be real, this is how most people listen to songs. And because of the chorus, you hear 2 or 3 times of a song. Each verse you only hear once. Yeah. So, and the chorus is, I'm always going to love you, right? So I think that's what people always remember taking away from the song. But yeah, it is a song about going separate ways amicably.
Yeah.
And Porter was still very, very supportive of her career. I mean, he produced her next several albums she did. So, it wasn't, this song allowed them to end things on good terms, which I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's basically the song. I love the song. We've talked about a number of things. It hit, this was kind of a cool fact, hit number 1 in 3 consecutive decades. So you had the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Of course, the 90s was the Whitney Houston version.
And then I think in 2010 it was, or 2011, it also hit the charts because that was like right before she died too.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds, or yeah, it was probably right after she died. I would imagine.
She died in 2012, and it was either 2010 or 2011 where it hit the chart again.
Gotcha.
Whitney Houston's version.
Yeah.
This is another one of those songs that we have, like the Michael Jackson songs and things like that, where we have just so many song facts about it that we can't cover everything, or it'll be an hour episode just on one song.
Yeah, I'm sitting here skipping over stuff, but
yeah, there's a lot of different things. It's number 1 in many countries. Just
one thing I think is really worth noting the Whitney Houston version apparently is the #1 selling single by a female artist of all time, which I think
Really?
is it's insane. That's crazy.
That is. Also, I would just like to say for the Whitney Houston version, there was one thing where talking about how she was covering a country song which hadn't been done before in R&B. She was also, this was the early 90s, so I don't know how many movies around that time were like interracial couple type things. So that was the movie she was in, was The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner. She was in a relationship with him, and it was like one of her first acting roles where she was kind of trying to prove herself that she can also act, so there's
Yeah.
kind of a lot of stuff going on with the Whitney Houston version there as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. There's the other thing I was going to say too, if you want to hear more about this song told by Dolly Parton, a lot more of the background with her and Porter, and she goes into a lot of the details of the relationship. There's a really good podcast called Dolly Parton's America that was produced by WNYC Studios. Highly recommend you look it up. I think this song they discuss, I think the second episode of the podcast, second or third episode. But the whole podcast series, it's like a little mini series, is really good, and Dolly is actually interviewed throughout it, and it really kind of digs a little bit more into Dolly's background. And if you like Dolly Parton, I and haven't listened to that podcast, highly recommend it. It's I think it's like 8 or 9 episodes maybe, but really well done. So.
Yeah. Were there any other facts that you wanted to cover for this song?
I'm sure we could find something, but for the sake of time, we'll let's jump into Alicia Keys.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is brought to you by the NBA Store. A new year brings the start of a new NBA season. Suit up with the latest gear to show your support for your team. We may be sidelined from going to the arena, but that doesn't mean you can't watch basketball from your couch in style. We are teaming up with the NBA and Podgo to bring our listeners up to 75% off on select items. Yes, you heard that right. Go to podgo.co/NBA for up to 75% off select items from the NBA Store. The NBA, where amazing happens. Oh, all right. Alicia Keys. Oh man, this is one of my first celebrity crushes, man. Well, I guess not first, because I was 12 when her first album came out or something like that, or 11. So definitely had celebrity crushes before her, but man, huge celebrity crush on Alicia Keys.
I mean, how could you not though? I mean,
yeah. She's got a great singing voice. At least from what I've seen, she's a decent person and all that stuff. So huge celebrity crush.
She was on The Voice for a while too, wasn't she? Wasn't she a judge on The Voice?
I don't remember if she was on The Voice or not.
I think she was on for a little bit.
Yeah. But so this song is off her second studio album, The Diary of Alicia Keys. She had a couple other hits off her first album that were amazing as well. So make sure you check those out too. But getting into the lyrics for the song, it's pretty simple. Starts off talking about how some people, they live for the fortune and the fame. They want the power. They just want to own everything basically. And they think that material items will get them through to where they want to be. And some people are materialistic like that. Not everyone is though. And eventually material items will kind of fade away, break, or they'll lose whatever luster that they have, right? So she talks about more how people are superficial. They want everything, but she doesn't really care for that if she can't have the person that she wants to be with, right? So all those other things are just bonuses, but they don't really matter.
Right.
Kind of going into other materialistic things of wanting diamond rings and everything else. Which diamond rings, sure, that I'm gonna step on my high horse, like just talk about diamond rings. Diamond rings are useless, dumb. I hate them. Sure, I bought my wife a diamond ring for her engagement ring and for her wedding ring, but like, come on, man. Like, there's one company that owns all diamonds in the world. They could set whatever price they want for diamonds, and turns out
It's a monopoly, yeah.
diamonds are worthless. You buy them from the store, and their value just depreciates. All right.
Yeah.
Back to
They do have a monopoly, and they're actually quite common.
Yeah. And also like, it's a pain to mine for those things. I don't know if you've ever seen movies or videos.
Oh yeah,
there's a movie called Blood Diamonds.
Yep.
I mean, it's a little over the top because it's a Hollywood movie, but like, you can just look those types of movies up or videos or like whatever.
Yep.
Okay, getting back to the song. Sorry. Getting into the second verse, you talk about some people search for a fountain that promises forever young. So the fountain of youth, basically trying to stay as young as possible for as long as they want, and dreaming of like these 3 dozen roses. And that's the only way that you can prove love to someone, is by giving them roses, giving them material items, making sure that they feel loved materialistically, which for some people that is true. There's actually a couple of different books. There's one book, The 5 Love Languages, and material items, gifts, that's one of the love languages. So your partner may want material items to feel that they're loved. Other people just like compliments. Other people like hugs and are very intimate by being touched. Different love things,
Do you know what your love language is, Greg?
I'm very basic, and if you like, my wife tells me I'm handsome every day, and I'm like, I know. Like, I got the Harrison Ford Han Solo thing where it's like, oh, I love you. I know. If you don't get that, it's a Star Wars reference. Go watch Star Wars and upgrade yourself.
All right. So full confessional moment. I've actually never seen Star Wars.
Oh, okay. So it's a quote where Princess Leia tells Han Solo. Princess Leia is Carrie Fisher. Han Solo is Harrison Ford. So she tells him, I love you. And he's like, I know. Instead of saying, I love you back.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anyways.
Back to Alicia Keys.
I don't know if I have a love language, to be honest. I'm pretty easygoing. Like, I married my wife. Like, I know she loves me, and I love her, so I don't need to like be told or given gifts or anything like that. I exist. I exist for her. So.
There you go. I think there's a test you can take.
She absolutely hates it. Her love language is me doing the dishes. That gets doing the dishes and doing laundry is like the greatest thing in the universe that I could ever do. So that's her diamond ring, is me doing the laundry and dishes.
There you go. Is she listening?
No, she's not. She's actually making dinner right now. So
there you go.
Anyways, get back into the second verse. So we were talking about the 3 dozen roses, giving material items. You could hand her the world on a silver platter, but like, if the person that she loves isn't there, then what does it matter? There's nothing to really live for if you can't be with that person that you want to be with. It doesn't matter if you can find that fountain of youth or anything. And that goes back into the chorus of some people want it all, which she has amazing vocals. And I would say comparatively, this song is comparative to your song, Matt. Like, between Alicia Keys and Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston obviously is very talented vocally, but like, Alicia Keys is also, she's there.
Yeah. I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit and trying to compare the two songs, but to that point, I think
the choruses are very similar with like the energy they put into it.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say too is I think I didn't say this when we were talking about I Will Always Love You. But I think Dolly Parton's version of the song, this is just perhaps my personal opinion, but I think her version of the song, there's a lot of emotion in her version. I think Whitney Houston's version of the song is just power vocals, like she's just amazing
I would
singing.
I would say there's a lot of emotion going into the chorus for Whitney Houston's, and the rest of it is less emotional than Dolly Parton's.
Yeah, that's fair. But what I was gonna say is I think Alicia Keys kind of brings both of those together, right, in her song.
Yeah.
With like the powerful vocals and then the emotion behind it. And so I guess it's kind of a little bit more of a contrast to compare, but interesting.
Yeah, and she's got the normal music video for it, but she's also got a live performance with at the iTunes Festival. That one's really good.
Nice.
But getting back into the lyrics, it goes into that, and then the outro is the same. So that covers the lyrics. Basically, the message there is understand your love language, understand that if you're just going to be alone the rest of your life, some people like that, not going to knock those people, but if you're just going to be alone the rest of your life, then what does it all matter?
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're right. And I think it also, I didn't get the love language thing out of it. So, but I appreciate that.
Sorry, the materialistic thing. That's
okay. Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's the thing that these two songs have in common, right? It's about the relationship. Like that's what love is, right? It's about nothing else. It's about your relationship that you have. It doesn't even have to be with a romantic relationship, right? It could be a relationship. And in Dolly's case, that was a business relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being friends with someone.
Exactly. And you can express love that way. And I think we're recording this around Valentine's Day, which I always call it's the Hallmark holiday. But it's not about being with a significant other. I mean, you can have love for friends, you can have love for family, and those all boil down to your relationship with people. And I think that's what love is, and I think that these songs both convey that in their own respective ways. And I think that's a really powerful message. I think that these songs send.
Yeah. So I'd like to just get into a couple of song facts for If I Ain't Got You. The song was written while she was on a plane after hearing about R&B singer Aaliyah's death. So if you know who Aaliyah is, she was an R&B singer. She died in a plane crash. And she wrote it very quickly on the plane to get like the bass line of the song down. But it took her a very long time after that to actually get the whole song written out so that she understood how she wanted to sing it and perform it and everything. And additionally, the song was originally she wrote the song. So she's written songs for herself and for other people, other famous singers. And it was originally supposed to be for Christina Aguilera, who is also an amazing singer. But she later realized that she wanted to perform it herself and not have someone else perform the song.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that too. She just recently revealed that too. I saw it last year, I think.
Oh, was that really recent for that one?
Yeah. She, I think I saw it. They said that just came out in September of last year.
Yeah, but she's a very talented person. The song charted quite a bit. Got number 1 on the U.S. Hot R&B hip hop songs. Charted in a couple other countries. It had a Grammy Award for Best R&B Vocal Performance, MTV Music Video Award for Best R&B Video, Soul Train Music Awards, Vibe Awards. It's got quite a few awards and everything on that. It's a really good song.
Yeah, it's incredible. Both of these songs, I just think I love Alicia Keys, and I love something we hadn't talked about, the piano her piano performance in this song, just that
Yep.
that opening note, or lick or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's unmistakable. Absolutely incredible. And I think there's a musical. Of course, I'm not going to find this because I actually didn't take this note, but I remember reading there's some like musical note in the song that's similar to another song that's really famous.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, it's the chorus, the opening hook, if you will, from a musical perspective, is the same or starts out similar to Carole King's "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman." Which
I'll have to
they're
listen
all
to that to verify that.
yeah. So anyway, kind of an interesting connection there. So.
Yeah. She also had like multiple different versions of this song too. Just like remixed. Like there's an album version, a piano version, reggae mix. She's got one that has Usher on it. A Black Eyed Peas remix. It's been used in multiple like movies and TV shows. So it's a pretty popular song. Pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great song too. I love both these songs. We picked some good ones.
Absolutely. But that's all I have for If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. Matt, did you have anything to add for that?
No, it's other than like I said, I love both these songs. They're great.
All right. Well, would you like to introduce next week's theme then?
Yeah, so it is February, which is Black History Month. So we thought it would be great to do a theme centered around that. And so I'm going to do a song, "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke. Greg, what song did you pick?
I have All Black Everything by Lupe Fiasco. It was tough to pick one song for both of us, but we just had to kind of throw it up in the air and just pick one that stuck.
Absolutely.
But with that, I appreciate everyone tuning in this week, and I'm sorry that we were a little bit late on this episode, but if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave us a comment, check us out on YouTube if you're only listening to us on our podcasting streams. So Castbox, Apple, Google, any other podcasting service that is out there. Also shoot us an email at recordmashup@gmail.com. Let us know what we can do better. Let us know what you think. What's your favorite love song? How is your Valentine's? Do you like Valentine's Day? Is it a Hallmark holiday, as Matt said? Also, for the Midwest people, not sure if you know about this, Matt, but do you like Sweetest Day? That's like Valentine's Day for the guy, but let us know what you think about that.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
I'll upgrade you on that. But Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.